Since its release at the tail end of 2024, Marvel Rivals has been, well, for the lack of a better term, unrivaled. It has carved itself a beautiful niche in the hero shooter genre, and it is without peer, okay? It has outstripped its other contemporaries, other comparisons that we could draw to, early 2024's success of Helldivers 2, where it had a cozy, 1 month, 6 week of unmitigated success, only to just go ahead and kneecap itself with, hey, you need to link your PSN account. Oh, don't worry about that. Where did all of our players go? And why are our community managers so pathetic? But no, in regards to Marvel Rivals, okay, what was the biggest controversy around it? A support studio in Seattle ended up getting closed down. They tried to make it a bigger situation than it actually was. And then you had the people that were actually working on and developing the game come out and say, yeah, we don't really want to work with Western developers anymore because they're lazy, entitled, and woke. So it's like, this game has just done everything right. And what contributed to their success, what has made them so damn profitable? Well, simply respecting the source material. I know this is absolutely wild, and once again, we got to look to the East as shepherds of tradition instead of perverters and subversionists of lore, which are likely to find out west. So, Marvel Rivals executive producer says respecting source material is a top priority when designing new heroes, to the point where they'll even bring in a comic book historian when needed. And that's fantastic, man, because you take a look at some of those character designs, and that's a big reason as to why there was such an influx of players at the beginning and why they continue to stay around. And yeah, you got the Invisible Woman who's looking, that's a bad bitch right there. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that don't know anything about the Malice run and the Fantastic Fourth storyline from back in the cut. But hey, man, that was another big push-off point from a bunch of people who were like, well, why didn't Overwatch 2 or Concord succeed? It was so much better. Well, Rivals has, on top of their, top-tier character designs, also got a very fun and replayable gameplay loop, and also a constant stream of content that is of a very high quality. So yeah, it's really not difficult to find out why this game is successful. And then the more you dig back, okay, the more you dig in and peel back the layers, you start to figure out that these guys actually have the best of intentions in mind with the IP. Like, okay, cool. Just because all of your developers don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of 70 years of Marvel, they're going to bring in somebody who is. That's a sign of great respect for the lore, respect for the history, and also a good amount of hubris to let you know that, hey man, they're not arrogant enough to say that we know everything about this. It's an understanding that they know what they know, and what they don't know they will find the answer to. That's what you just want to see. It's not that difficult to make a game, and it's not that difficult to retain an audience. Be honest and be faithful. That's all we want. That's all we want. In offering a refreshing example of source material understanding at a time when the concept is all but completely tossed aside, NetEase Games has confirmed that when it comes to designing characters for Marvel Rivals, one of their top priorities is ensuring that their digital depictions remain faithful to their comic book counterparts. Because, yeah, okay, for as weird as it's like, well, Galactus is a dude. Well, there are certain runs that had, female Galactus, but it's also not a spiteful depiction where, yeah, you know what, hey, Galactus can wear heels and she can do it better than that crusty old goof ever could. From alternate costumes like the Invisible Woman's Malice outfit from the Star-Spangled Avengers Captain AIM America suit, to the inclusion of lesser-known heroes like Jeff the Landshark or Cloak and Dagger. Well, hey man, Cloak and Dagger had a pretty good run in, what was that, Amazing Spider-Man or something like that? But anyways, to small aesthetic changes like Magneto's personal signature, as featured on the characters' respective in-game profile pages, really being written by Jonathan Hickman's wholly original Krakoan language. Oh, okay, cool. Marvel Rivals shows an impressive and genuinely welcome amount of respect to the eponymous publisher's nearly 90 years of history. I guess it does run all the way back that far. I was just thinking it was in the 60s, but no, it's further back than that. My mistake. With the ups and downs to everything in between, but far from the presentation being the rogue result of a few comic book loving team members, Marvel Rivals executive producer Danny Koo says that the idea of following the original stories was treated as a core aspect of the game's design philosophy. How are we talking about an adaptation of something as popular as Marvel is, and they're actually having a good take on it? Like, just, this is very wild, very welcome, but very wild. And hey, I was gonna point that out at the beginning, but Susie Young, she's actually the voice actress and very talented one for Yuffie in Final Fantasy VII Remake Project. So shout out to her for getting that role. not being typecast in a certain depiction. Speaking of PC Gamer, during the currently ongoing 2025 Game Developers Conference, yeah, it's already been done by the time that you guys see this, and hell, even by the time that I'm recording this, it's already been done and dusted. Regarding NetEase's games approach to selecting the game's roster, Ku explained roughly 70% of the roster is made up of your greatest hits, well-known characters, yes, like Iron Man, Cap, Spooderman, Venom, Magneto, Wolverine, Blade. Like, even though I don't play the game, I'm well aware of all the roster that's there, and then also the ones that are on the horizon and recently released ones. Well, somewhat recently released, like the Fantastic Four. It's like, yeah, if you want to work in hey, MCU, this is how you do it. You use your established characters to introduce lesser known characters, and then you can make those lesser known characters household names. It's really simple. But no. You will love Shang-Chi. You will love the Eternals. Why? Because shut up. And you might not, even know who they are to make the roster more interesting. What we do is, whenever we have a character, we'll come up with a character background, who they are, and the comic reference that they appear in, what they do, and we'll hand it over to their design team. Then they'll come up with some ideas, and we'll both agree on what their baseline is. And we feel good about the hero, we go into production. Pretty simple, right? Oh, there's Moon Knight. He was always so much fun to play in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and oh god, what they did to him in this TV show. Big kaiju battle at the end of it when he could have had really cool ideas with the split person. Anyways, and far from the attention to comic book accuracy only, playing a role in the given character's visual and gameplay designs, Ku also noted that the source material commitments also extend to their presentation to players. In other words, rather than trying to change a character to conform to their popular image, NetEase Games instead invites players to learn what their actual image is. Then the marketing team is like, okay, how do we present this to new players? I might not know whose world this is. Do we need to explain it? We're called the EP. As a comic we have a comic historian come in. That's crazy, man. And in applying this sense of celebrating the comic books to the roster's future, Ku told PC Gamer that rather than just throwing every character into the game and allowing for more than a few to share similar kits, Marvel Rivals would instead focus on making each playable hero or villain was unique in their own way. Nothing is out of the question for now, he admitted, in regards to the potential roster picks, but we are focusing on we focus on making sure that the characters are distinct from one another. For example, Hulk and Red Hulk roughly have the same silhouette, so we may not do that one. Well, yeah, of course, because nobody in like 3 weeks' time is going to remember who Red Hulk was or if we've ever seen him before. And yeah, I wish Marvel would really do something with that. You know, you got the Fire Hulk, hey man, that would be perfect for adaptation. He was already in a movie? Oh, that's crazy. Their abilities have to be as distinct as well, because we have all kinds of players, he concluded. Some players love to be strategists. Some players love to dive into the action. Some players just like to watch other people play. So we have to tailor it to every kind of player. And it's that level of detail, that level of appreciation for A, the source material, and B, for the game that you're making, has been a big contributing factor as to why Marvel Rivals has been such a success since its release, like I said before, because honestly, I don't know who the hell the maker is. Obviously, I know who Moon Knight is, and that's a little bit more of a deep cut for a bunch of people, but Spider-Man is right up there with Batman and Superman when it comes to the most recognizable faces that are out there. But while you can just go ahead and throw all of those characters in there, yeah, you might have got a couple of comic book fans or people that recognize some of the names trying the game out, but it wouldn't have continued to been the success that it is to this very day. This is a refreshing take, and the fact that they can draw on all of this, like just about centuries long source material to make something engaging, that they don't have to, if they want to do if they want to do a Spider-Man take, they can go from John Romita era as opposed to One More Day. You don't have to be like the MCU and just rush through all of those fantastic storylines in order to get to the stuff that was released in 2014 and beyond that has absolutely killed off the industry, because for as much good as there is in the comic books, there's a considerable amount of slop, and because NetEase has kind of steered away from all of the new stuff, you're not going to see Lady Thor anytime soon, because we already have Thor. And we got lady characters. Like, why do we need to do the two? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to play that shit. Like, why are we doing that stuff, okay? They know what they're doing, okay? And you know who else knows what he's doing? Or at least he did, okay? Back when he was really cooking, because here's a guy, okay? John McTiernan, releasing Die Hard and Predator, and he's attached to several other projects that are out there. Like, he is one of those directors that might not immediately come to mind when it comes to just real superstars in the industry, but from the late 80s to the early 90s, there was nobody doing it better. Okay, so when he speaks, people had best listen. Die Hard and Predator director John McTiernan blames literature of our time for the downfall of Hollywood, calls comic books garbage. Well, this current run of comic books, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody to disagree with you on that one. And yeah, because there is nothing to adapt, because there are no new ideas getting put to paper that are worthy of either adaptation, continuation, or hell, even publication at this point in time. Yeah, the literature, not just the written word, but also the all different forms of expression. Yeah, that's the big problem, and a big contributing factor to the downfall of Hollywood. Or even when they can go ahead and adapt certain material, like I just did a video on, season 3 of Rings of Power. How can you take anything from Tolkien and bastardize it the way that Amazon did and think that you're doing a good job? Okay, so yeah, it's the hubris of the Hollywood executive, and then also just the absolute abysmal shit that we've been unfortunate enough to be immersed in the past 20 years. I'd say 20 years. There's no denying that Hollywood, the art form of film, and the culture around it as a whole have changed. However, it's typically the older, more seasoned craftsmen and women in many cases. Let's keep it a buck. How many chicks were positively contributing to these all-time masterpieces? But anyways, age imparts wisdom, a long story short. Yeah, exactly. Okay, John McTiernan, the latest veteran of cinema, with a share of umbrage against the studio system to point out the flaws of the failing field. At one time, he was the king of the action genre, certified reputation with Die Hard, Predator, and The Hunt for Red October. These days, those days are far behind him. Yeah, Hunt for Red October, the most recent of that selection, and that came out in the year of our Lord 1990. A great year, by the way. Not just because he allegedly lied to the FBI, landing himself in federal prison and tarnishing his rap. Oh, who hasn't accidentally lied to the feds before? No back to the internal issues facing him, though not helped by the winds of change and ultimately internal. Streaming, for example, represents change and a challenge, but it is nothing the studios haven't seen before. Yeah, it's just simply a change in medium. That just doesn't explain why the storytelling is just so piss poor. Speaking of Forbes, McTiernan said, it's a significant thing. It's a significant thing politically. It's actually pretty well documented that the experience of seeing a drama, a movie, a play in a group with other people in completely different experience than seeing it alone. Enormous numbers of hormones exchange and all sorts of information that goes in between people in the audience. It will happen again. We have not watched the end of the Agora, the public space. He continued, there are many reasons that this is not the first time it's happened. It happened in the 1950s when television happened, but then the film companies were in the hands of the filmmakers who fought for the industry. They got widescreen, they developed much better colors, better sound, all sorts of things to create an experience that one couldn't have at home, and they got the other half century out of the industry because they fought, but they were filmmakers. And now the people who run the studios are just over serious for the money. They don't know how to fight, for one thing, and they have no personal stake in it because they're not filmmakers, they're money managers. But someone else will create a new industry that happens publicly. Yeah, no, that's why, as much as I detest most of the stuff that is coming out, both in gaming and literature, and then also in movies and television as well, there's still creatives that are out there. It might take a little while to catch up, but I think things are eventually going to get better. We're just still very much in a cultural rut yet to be broken out. Why can't you tell a difference? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, why can't you tell the difference between a Toyota or a Volvo or a Peugeot or a Ford or something manufactured in Korea? Interesting. Because they're all the same marketing. They're all exactly the same cars. They're identical. Yeah, that is something. Okay, because there used to be a distinction. I'm talking from a North American, or in a North American sense rather. Like there was a big difference between a Ford F-150, Dodge Ram 1500, and a Chevy Silverado half-ton 1500 as well. Like you could notice and you could very easily tell the difference of those three different types of trucks coming down the road. Now, and I think it's definitely become a thing in the past 10 to 15 years, there's just such a homogeneity when it comes to just creativity. It's wild, man. Like you can chalk a lot of that up to just sheer performance and streamlined efficiency, but there's no creativity at all whatsoever. Just all the same people taught at the same schools. And like I've said before, and I will continue to say again, the industrialization of creativity has led to the cultural rot that we have before us. And yeah, it's in entertainment in as much as it is in other realms of functionality. Elaborating further, he took a parting shot at the superhero genre. Okay, the filmmakers all fought because they thought they were participating in a culture at the time, no matter how crude various heads of studios were. They silently knew they were participating in a culture, and they were proud of it. Actually, people running it now are participating in the literature of the time. It's comic books, it's garbage. They know it's garbage, they don't care. Well, it's a structural problem. That's interesting, right? Okay, because I guess we get the full context of that quote. And like I've made mention before, I'm not like the biggest comics guy. Like the comic run that I collected at the time, it was Sonic the Hedgehog way back in the day, and my affiliation with superheroes was very much through the animated fare, like Batman the animated series, Spider-Man, and of course X-Men. But this is the way that, yeah, a lot of people in Hollywood look at the comic book movies. Okay, they're just the slop of the time. You can go in, you can collect a paycheck, and your reputation won't be hurt because of it, because all the blame is going to be heaped at Marvel, and you'll come out, hey man, with a fatter pocket and your reputation relatively unscathed, because yeah, it's garbage, it's slop, it's disposable, it is there to just be a stopgap to the next thing that is going to be a stopgap. It is a structural problem. But are comic books in general garbage? Well, that's the way that they are perceived in Hollywood, but it is a visual and a literary storytelling medium that is unparalleled in the stories that it can tell, that has been treated incredibly badly by the people that have usurped that industry for a very long time. So yeah, current comics are very much garbage, but the source material that is out there that could be adapted by people that actually care about it, take a look at NetEase and Marvel Rivals, okay? You can do amazing things with it, just like McTiernan did with Die Hard and Hunt for Red October. I don't know, was Predator a book beforehand? Not entirely sure about that one. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.